Hey everyone, Wydug here again, this time with Game 2 of a Best of 5 series from the Kaspersky Arena September 2013 edition. And this time on Newkirk Precinct, we've got spawning in the bottom right as the Blue Terran, we've got Kaup. And Kaup's opponent and Victor from Game 1 spawning in the bottom left as the Red Zerg, representing Team Liquid, we've got the Little One. And the Little One was very, very patient in the previous game. He was just holding Kaup on a few bases. And he was always constantly ahead in the economy. And eventually Kaup was just basically starved out. And then the last engagement of the game, it was just too much for Kaup. And TLO was able to seal up the victory. And it looked quite easy as well. Professional games are generally not easy, but it looked easy. So we'll have to see if TLO is going to be playing the very patient strategy style again. And we'll have to see if Kaup can adapt. Now, here on Newkirk Precinct, it is a two-player map. So if Kaup wanted to pull out some proxy shenanigans, he could. But it looks like he is saving up resources. And he's probably going to be going for the 14cc again, as he did in the previous game. In the previous game, he put it on the high ground, I believe. So he's probably going for a similar play. TLO is going to be getting his expansion hatchery first before any other structures. So this game is going the exact same way as the previous game, at least early on. Now, Kaup is sending an SV out to scout, and he's also sending another one to build the barracks. There we go. That wall in will be completed. And I like the positioning of this Overlord from TLO. The first Overlord he had, he sent over to his opponent's base at a slight angle, just so he can immediately see what's going on at that ramp. Because generally, most of the action for Terran players is going to be at that ramp. It's not going to be here. Some players, for example, like Bomber, like to put supply depots and barracks very close to their command center. But a majority of Terran players like to put it at that ramp. So this Overlord is able to spot that command center immediately. So now TLO has a lot of choices. Because he spotted that fast command center, he can either go for a third hatchery himself, a very fast third. That's what it looks like he's opting for, as the hatchery is already in position. Or he could go for a two-base timing attack. But it looks like we are, in fact, going to have that third hatchery up and running very quickly here. Not even at the 4-minute mark, that third hatchery is going to get plopped down. Now, the SCV from Kaup is able to spot this, and he's actually going to be putting down a bunker. Interesting play, and if you take a look at the vision from TLO, his hatchery cannot spot it, but those spider senses were tinkling, and now that Overlord is able to spot that bunker immediately, and so those Zerglings have been dispatched to deal with this very annoying semi-bunker rush thingy? I don't know what to call this. Generally, I don't think this has ever happened where people try to bunker up and attack the third hatchery at the 4.5-minute mark. But it does fail. Kaup is going to cancel and retreat back to his base. Kaup is getting a factory. I think Reactor is going to be going down here for the barracks. Yes, we are. I believe Kaup is going to be going for double Hellions. Very, very common build for Terran players. Get that map control. And because he was able to spot that TLO, once again, didn't have any extractors up, that means Zergling speed is not going to be upgraded anytime soon. It's going to take a while to collect that gas and to get that Zergling speed upgrade. So map control is going to be conceded to Kaup if he can just get those Hellions out. And in the previous game, I mentioned Hellions can go around, you know, harassing drones, doing economic damage. But another thing that they can do very well is deal with creep tumors. Is try to halt the spread of that creep. Because TLO likes to have a lot of creep on the map. And I'm a really big proponent of having lots of creep tumors on the map if you're a Zerg player. So Hellions are one way to deal with it because they're fast. They can pick off creep tumors and run away before the queens engage them. But last game, Kaup didn't really do that. And so we'll have to see if he's going to do that this game. We do have the first two Hellions out. We also have Zergling speed on the way. So he's only going to have about a 1.5-minute window where his Hellions are faster than his opponent's Zerglings. So Kaup's going to have to pick off some creep tumor here. And here's the first candidate. Is he going to be able to get it, or is it going to be canceled in time? No, it's going to be destroyed. Good move by Kaup, picking off that creep tumor. And that just means TLO is going to have to waste another 25 energy, or he's going to have to take the long route around to get that creep spread closer to Kaup's base. Now, this is interesting. TLO in the previous games has put down a lot of creep tumors connecting his bases. This time he only has one active creep tumor, and he doesn't actually have a connection between his second, third, and his main. None of the bases are connected by creep, and this is interesting. If Kaup is able to find an entranceway here with his Hellions, he could do some damage here, because if you take a look, this opening is pretty big. The evolution chambers are not really in the way, and there's only a few Zerglings on this ramp. So Kaup is going to try and make his move here. The Spine Crawler is going to scare away this small force of Hellions. 2 more will be reinforcing this position. But you have to remember, Zergling speed is now complete, so Zerglings can surround these Hellions a lot easier. And that could be a big problem for these Hellions. It looks like both players are trying to get back to Kaup's side of the map. Zerglings are going to go down. 2 are roasted for the low price of nothing. The third one is going to be a casualty as well. But unfortunately for Kaup, you want to do a little bit more damage with 6 Hellions rather than just pick off 1 creep tumor and 6 Zerglings. But Kaup is going to get his third up and running very soon here. He is lifting his orbital command over to that third position. And this is a little bit interesting. He does have to block off on his entrance to his natural now. Now, we do have the Baneling's nest up, as well as the Roach Warren is almost complete. And I think this is going to be a Roach Baneling bust, because we have a whole bunch of Zerglings hiding over on the east side of the map. And generally, Zerglings don't just sit there to do nothing. Generally, they sit there so they can turn into Banelings later, I feel like. But these Zerglings look like they're good. They're going to be going in for a head-on confrontation into the natural, but this is a very bad idea for TLO. The Zerglings are going to have to spread and retreat. So Kaup is going to be mining from his third base, and the Hellions are still hanging out just outside TLO's third. But to counter that third base, TLO is getting his own 4th hatchery up. And Kaup hasn't spotted this yet, but he does have the medevacs out, and so we could be seeing some drop play very soon. Now, 1-1 is going to finish for TLO slightly ahead of his Terran opponent, so he'll have a small window where he has the upgrade advantage. But it's only a few moments, 20 seconds or so. And it doesn't look like TLO is moving out here, so I don't think this upgrade advantage is going to play really much of a role in this game. The Hellions are darting around looking for some active creep tumors to take care of. Now, the scan does go down. They're going to clean up a few creep tumors, but none of the active ones are taken care of. So that means that over time, this creep tumor is going to just constantly spread even more creep. But at least the 4th is being attacked by Kaup. He's able to spot it, and he's firing down on it with those Hellions. But his army is out of position. There is a huge counterattack of about 20 Zerglings at that third base. There is no bunker. The SCVs are actually trapped. A whole bunch of SCVs do fall. 5 of them do die in that small Zergling skirmish. And it looks like that preemptive attack at that 4th hatchery is going to be delayed. Kaup is going to try and reinforce his position. There are Banelings forming in the center of the map, and with Roaches ahead of them, this is that Roach Baneling timing I was talking about, and the Marines are caught out of position. It looks like the Terran units might be able to flank, but the Marines are going to have to retreat through that northern sector. The Roaches are very good against Hellions. Hellions are good against the Zerglings. But the Marines are running away. They're stimming to try to get away. The Banelings are just chasing them as fast as they can, but the Roaches are just so good against Marines. And now the Marines are stuck because the second base is also under attack. Excuse me, the third base of Kaup. And now all his Marines are taking a lot of beatings. And it looks like he has a small task force of Marines trying to reinforce his third position. This command center is not going to finish. In fact, he didn't even get the cancel on it. So he's just going to lose 400 resources. And that's a lot of resources to lose on an incomplete command center. And now the army supply has dipped significantly. He's down by about 60 supply. And TLO is just rampaging forward with a whole bunch of Roaches. And it looks like that drop is now going to be foiled again. Kaup is pulling back with his medevacs, and he's already lifted his third orbital command. And once again, this outside command center is not going to finish. At least this time he gets the cancel. but Kaup is in a really horrible position. He doesn't have any widow mines. He doesn't have any tanks. And Marines generally cannot deal with roaches. Roaches just have so much life. You really need tanks or widow mines and or marauders to deal with this adequately. But all Kaup has is Marines and a few widow mines now. And with the banelings rolling in, here we go. With centrifugal hooks, they are going to roll into this bunker. And the bunker does go down immediately. More banelings are coming in. No splits. The Marines melt away. But Kaup is holding this position steady. But now he's still down by about 70 supply. And TLO is building more and more banelings to accompany his roach force. Kaup is trying to feverishly get that bunker back up. It is not going to finish. The banelings are rolling in here. The widow mines don't get any connections that are worthwhile. Killing 2 banelings, but the roaches are already through the front door, eating away at all these Marines. There's one lone marauder here, but I don't think this marauder is going to survive. He already has 4 kills, but he is going to finally be taken out. And with so many roaches at the natural, this is going to be the end of Kaup in Game 2. There's just too many roaches here, and even though the widow mines don't have any overseers to detect them, it doesn't matter. There's just too many roaches firing down on the tech labs, on the factories. The Marines are hanging tough, doing as much damage as they can, stimming feverishly. But 6 Marines will not do very well against 20 or so roaches. I'm not an expert in math, but I know this is just too many roaches. And these Marines will fall eventually. There are medevacs here healing them up, but that is going to spell the end of Kaup in Game 2. So once again, TLO is just starving Kaup of resources, just attacking his expansions at the right time. You know, Kaup at a few points in the game was the aggressor. At one point, he was trying to attack this 4th base. And then there's a counterattack, about 20 Zerglings at this 3rd, and then Kaup had to retreat back. Or at least he thought he had to retreat back to defend that position. And then from that point on, TLO was constantly being very aggressive. There were no drops in that game that I saw. The strength of a Terran player generally is that you have medevacs that can boost, heal, and drop. And if you take that away from a Terran player, they're not going to be able to do very much. And this is a classic example of that. Sometimes a good defense is having a good offense. So we'll have to see in Game 3 if TLO can close up the series with a sweep, or if Kaup can force Game 4.